She's still laughing.
That's so funny. Welcome to 5 Lemons Left. We're the real stuff, the lemons making lemonade. So pucker up, because we're going to be discussing our life's lessons and the nitty-gritty details of our spiritual journeys.
Hey y'all, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Drusilla.
I'm Melissa.
Hello, this is Morgan.
And I'm Penny. Welcome to our podcast today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amanda, and I am a recovering judger.
Hi, Amanda.
I'm Melissa. I'm a recovering fixer.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
I'm Morgan, and I am a recovering people pleaser.
I'm Morgan.
Hi, Morgan.
Hi, Morgan.
And hi, I'm Penny, and I'm a recovering people pleaser, saver, fixer, controller, codependent. I'm all of them.
Hi, Penny. Hi, Penny. Today we're starting out with a laugh, like always, and we're going to ask you some questions. Have you ever thought about holding space for others? When someone else is talking, what are you thinking about?
Fixing.
Judging, controlling, people pleasing, right?
Yeah.
Trying to save them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Huh.
What I'm going to say.
Yes. Is that actually holding space for someone? Are you trying to change someone? So today we're talking about holding space for others. We're talking about what it is and what it isn't.
Yeah. So let me jump in and let's explain, it's explained. I'll give you like what my Google definition is of holding space. Okay, honestly, I know. So what's really cool about holding space is I guess I know intuitively now how to do it, but I really didn't know the definition of what it is. And so holding space for others is a profound act of compassion. And when I read that, I went, wow, compassion and support. That's really my middle name, Penny, Compassion and Support. And I think for all of us right here, it is. I mean, I think that's why we are drawn to each other, because we are so supportive and compassionate for each other. And we offer this space that we're holding for others. If you kind of think of it like a container, we hold that little container and it's a safe, non-judgmental environment. And it allows others to express themselves, to be able to heal whatever they need to heal, and to simply just be. And that's so beautiful. When I read that definition, that it's about being fully present, listening with empathy, not thinking about what I'm going to be saying, and really providing that emotional support without trying to fix or change or save or control or people please another person or their experience they're having. And so we really thought it would be a fun episode to have, because it's so freaking important to really hold space, especially as I've evolved. And I think I can speak for the rest of us lemonettes as we've evolved, that, holding space is really profoundly important in my life. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anybody else want to jump in and with any other definitions of holding space, or what not holding space is?
Well, I think your definition was really great. And you probably, if I had to guess, you probably learned this practice through your 12-step meetings that you've been going to for decades and decades. I really didn't learn this practice until joining the Power of Love ministry, where I met you ladies, and specifically Jennifer Hadley's Masterful living program. And in our small groups, we have that credo that we have to read, and which was just sort of a code of conduct for how we're agreeing to show up for each other in this small group space. And it was the practice of seeing each other as perfect, not like holding the perfection when someone's sharing a challenging situation that's going on for them, without getting down in the story with them. And then also respecting what they would like support to look like for them, letting them express, do you want advice? Do you want me to just listen? Do you want me to go beat someone up for you? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but it just all of it was intuitive. I agree. Like, I have heard the word holding space and I sort of just intuitively knew what it means, but it is such a profound practice that I now count you ladies among like my inner circle of close friends, even though I think, Amanda, I've met you briefly in person, and the rest of you I've never met. And I try to practice this in my daily interactions with other people, specifically if someone's sharing something heavy or personal or inspirational, exciting, something important for them. If we're just having a regular chat, maybe not so much, but just practicing that, being fully present with them, not multitasking, not figuring out how I'm going to respond to them, what clever quip I'm going to come back with, like just listening with my full attention and with love.
Beautiful.
That is beautiful. I remember getting introduced to this concept at Kripalu, which is a yoga center in Massachusetts in 97, 98, I don't know, somewhere in that late 90s.
You were like a 12-year-old.
I love you, Penny. I do. That really threw me for a loop. I'm like, I'll take that.
I'm sorry, you were at Capallo.
I was at Capallo, yes. And we were they had circles, and we practiced listening to each other. And they didn't say holding space, but it laid some of the groundwork for not responding, for not thinking about what you're going to say while they're talking. So they didn't use those words, but as we're talking, it really reminds me of that lesson. And it is so opposite of what people normally do in society. Like the concept of someone is telling you about a tragedy in their lives, like, automatically thinking, oh my God, that poor person, or what were they thinking? Or like, like I said, judging, like starting to judge them instead of the container of compassion, like Penny was saying. So on some level, just not latching on to the problem, not running with the problem, not making it worse and commenting and doing all of that.
Jennifer's talked about it many times, that we're all whole, healthy, and complete, and we work perfectly. And when I went through my coaching academy, shout out to Source Point Training, the women that trained us there, we have presuppositions for living that we learned when we were training to be a coach. And one of them, and I wish I had my little cards with me, but I don't. And it's everyone is whole, healthy. Excuse me. Everyone is whole, healthy, and complete and works perfectly. No one needs fixing. So as you go into a coaching session with a client, it's all about containing, creating the safe container for them to come in, have their experience, figure out the lessons. And so as a coach, to hold that space for them is really important. And it's a process to learn to do that. I have to tell you.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think that I started learning through 12-step groups. In 12-step groups, you share your experience, strength, and hope. And you don't crosstalk, which means you don't say something while someone else is talking about what they're saying. And really, you shouldn't talk about what someone has said unless it is inspiring you to talk about your own experience, strength, and hope. So that's a really great lesson of like, you're doing your thing over here. And then when it's my turn, I'm going to talk about my thing. I'm not going to comment about your thing. And I'm not going to reinforce your pain. I'm not going to say, yeah, let's really get pissed off about this. So that's one thing. But then I think the next level is the holding space. It's beyond just actively listening. I think it's the word that keeps coming up from what everyone's talking about is compassion, like having the compassion to let someone be exactly where they are in the present, sharing what's cracking their heart open without thinking that the story needs to change, they need to change, it needs to get better, it needs to get worse, whatever it is. So I think it's another level. It's a very, I don't know. Do you think it's an active level? Is it like,
ooh, it's got to be active because to hold that space, you have to constantly be clearing anytime, because thoughts come into my mind all the time when I'm listening to somebody. And so to clear those thoughts out.
Yeah.
Oh, just talking about this makes me a little, can I really do this? I'm starting to judge myself.
Oh my gosh. You are like the poster child for this. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that, Morgan. I love you too.
I think
I'm calling you every day.
Okay. We'll be each other's hype.
Yeah.
But to piggyback on what Melissa's sharing, I mean, we have in our small groups, we have people bring real life challenges and upsetting situations, and I co-facilitate a support group as well, which, as you can imagine, people bring their challenges and upsets there, and sometimes there are strong emotions and tears, and so it's also sort of like a vibrational thing. We've talked about vibration on this show a lot of times. Like some people in the group may be showing up at about like a 7, and other people in the group might be showing up at like a 2. And so like, it's like this supporting each other, holding each other in the high vibration of love. It's like a crutch. I don't know. My words aren't really expressing this beautifully, but I think I think I've illustrated sort of what I'm trying to say.
Definitely. I get what you're saying, Morgan. And to build on what you just said too, you might be a 7, I might be a 2, and your vibration can raise me up to that 5. And maybe you might come down to the 5, but hopefully not. You're able to hold your 7 while I keep coming up closer and closer to you. So that's part of, that's a good thing to be able to do, is to be able to help the negative to move more to the positive.
Right. But without needing that change to occur and allowing people to process their emotions, however they're showing up. Yes. Yeah. All of that, all of the above.
Yeah. Not having an expectation that they will raise their vibration, just holding the space for them if they are capable. And that's another thing too, that Jennifer has taught us, is that to hold that capacity, that space. I mean, one of the prayers is, oh gosh, I wish I can't remember, but it's in her, the prayer, the one that she taught us when we very first began. And it's like, please help me to hold my vibration as high as I possibly can all day long. That I'm capable of holding, because we're at different capacities in our growth and in each day. Just like the 4 agreements that we've referenced before, our best changes from day to day and even from hour to hour, minute to minute, depending on what we're going through. Right. So just to have that capacity to hold that space takes work.
It does. And that goes back to Melissa's, active. It's that's the active part of it. And also, I do want to acknowledge it is the active part of it until it's not, right? Until we are able to walk into a room of people yelling at each other and still hold that high vibration, to know ourselves so completely as divine beings that we don't come down, like the whole room would shift, because we know. And I think we're active until we don't have to be active anymore. Kind of like meditation, right? Learning to meditate.
Like it becomes natural.
My active part is taking a piece of duct tape and putting it over my because sometimes I'm like, oh,
I know it's hard.
It is. And duct tape parenting, friendship, duct tape when your girlfriend is going out with a guy you hate. Like
it's a real thing.
Yeah. When I first got a life coach certification years ago, and I remember thinking, I need to use this like I was a decorator, like a home decorator. I don't just walk into people's houses and start rearranging their furniture. They have to ask me to do that, and I just had to remind, that was kind of the story I put in my mind. Like, it's not okay for me to jump in and start fixing somebody. Just like the decorator, just like walking into their living room. So that was a big reminder for me. I still work at it. And I think, I'm graduating slowly and to the next levels, but I am in a lot of Zoom calls with my friend Amanda and all of you, but especially I watched my friend Amanda, because I notice I'm the person who's always like, my head's nodding through everything. Like Penny sings, and then I'm like, yes. And Amanda sits, I know she's fully engaged, fully holding space, but no, like, I don't see you do a lot of like head nodding, nose, and stuff like that.
Facial expressions. And
I think I think it's very elevated. Like it's, I've told you this before, you just are so good at being there for people. And I think even me, like doing the head nod, it subconsciously maybe tells other people, oh yeah, keep going on your story. I'm not sure, but I always admire how you are fully engaged, but allowing whoever's talking to fully talk without your even unconscious,
feedback.
Thank you. I will receive that too.
That's beautiful. And I've noticed that too about Amanda. Sometimes it annoys me though, I'll have to say, because I want the feedback. I do.
That brings up a whole other point. Like how do you bridge that gap? Like if you're out at a restaurant and your friend or somebody is like getting all worked up about something and they want you to go, that guy is an a-hole, right?
Yeah.
We'll round up the posse and we're going to go get some shit done, right? You can, it is a learning, like how to do it, when to do it, because like, without being judgy either. Like, I'm a recovering judger, right? And sometimes I think my non-reaction is like someone else is judging it for something that it's not, right?
Was I judging it?
I don't know. Were you?
No, I'm not. I'm just bringing it up. Was that a judgment? It wasn't a judgment. It's really like you walk the talk. Like I can tell,
That's how
I know your story, and I know that you've come a long way and not gossiping, not judging. And I see it, it's something you do with every part of your body.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
And taking this and putting it in a different environment will have different reactions too. And then that goes back to not people pleasing, right? Because am I going to change who I am to fit into this situation? Sometimes I shift I mean, this is real life, right? Sometimes the most comfortable thing for me to do is shift a little bit, sometimes not.
I think what Melissa's point brings up is a whole other layer that we haven't really touched on, which is active listening, and not just active listening to the person who's speaking, but active listening to love or to our higher self or to Holy Spirit guidance as to how to be most supportive. Because like for some people, the most supportive thing is not to dig into the nitty gritty details and try to get them to share more. But then I think about the story our teacher, Jennifer Hadley, shared one time about her nephew who was really deeply upset about something. And she asked him to explain what he was upset about and what happened. And then she asked him to explain it again. And then she asked him to explain it again. And finally he said, I'm tired of talking about it. Can we talk about something else? And so she helped him like run through the full range of the experience and the emotions and everything. He was able to express it all. So for some people, that type of support might be helpful. For other people, not having to get into it would be the most helpful. So that's where I think it's important to, there's my dog's butt, sorry, for those watching. To have that active listening with spirit involved as well.
Yeah, so recently my son was involved in a really serious situation where somebody did die. And, when we found out about it, it was just like, OMG, it was just horrible, just absolutely horrible. And I realized at that point that I couldn't change it. I couldn't fix it. I couldn't save him. I mean, this is his experience that he unfortunately, we don't know the reason. We don't know what anything is for. That's a common saying right here in the Course in Miracles. And so I just affirmed to myself that I was going to hold space for him, just to hold space for him. And when he was ready to talk, I realized that asking questions when somebody has had a really horrific experience, that it doesn't help them at all. I got that very quickly. I got that intuitive hit very quickly. I asked one question and I realized that's the only question you can ask right now, Penny. No more questions. And just be quiet. Just let him have the space that he needs to be able to share what's going on inside of him. And since then, since that first night that we learned about the situation, we have had several conversations with him, and he's opened up tremendously about the experience. I mean, it's something that's going to take him. I mean, I hate to put time frames on things, but it's going to take him some time to process. And so, and of course, when it's your kid too, or a close friend, or somebody, whatever, somebody when they have a situation like this, of course, who doesn't want to jump in and save and fix and control and people please and help them, tell them what to do. Everybody. In the past, I would have done that a lot, but I'm recognizing, so the moral of the story is that I am recognizing that the best thing that I could do for my son at that time was to just send him love. And I kept asking God, what do I say next? What's the next right thing for me to say right here? Because wow, this is a pretty amazing situation that we're going through right now. And I want to be able to support him in the best way that I could. And so just holding some space was the best thing I could do. Yeah.
I want to acknowledge that you allowed us the blessing of being able to hold space for you when all of that was unfolding as well. So
I knew I needed you guys. I knew it. I had to. And it took me a couple of days before I actually reached out and asked for prayers and support, because I guess still I have the, it's making me emotional. Just sometimes I don't think that I want to involve people in the messiness of my life. Because, like, gosh, I don't want to be Debbie Downer, I guess, when I asked for help, I gave just certain details so that you would understand the significance of what was going on. And just the outpouring of love was beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful part of holding space. As you were talking, my intuition took me to your son, right? So that gave me an opportunity to I have no idea what he looks like or where he is, but still that gave me the opportunity to surround him in that unconditional love. So that's what holding space for me looked like when you were sharing. So it was about you and it wasn't about you. I went somewhere else.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Melissa, what did your mental holding space look like when Penny was telling her story, since that's what we're talking about?
I feel I get very present and just feel like inside I'm literally holding space in our environment together. And the other thing is I have a visualization of pink healing, like a big pink healing blanket wrapped around the people involved, and just holding the people involved, holding them with the pink healing blanket and comforting and loving.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Is it always pink?
It is.
Yeah. What about you, Morgan? What was your was your mental holding space?
Well, I think for me, what came into my mind was, well, first of all, the ego chimed in with a million questions, and I shoot those right on out. And same with you and your conversation with your son, Penny, recognizing immediately, that's not helpful. Goodbye. And just went. And for some reason, the story, which I believe I might have shared here before, so if it's repetitive, forgive me, but the story that Esther Hicks shared one time about how Jesus was able to heal people, he didn't see people in their illness stories. He saw with Christ's vision, he saw their holiness and their perfection. So that story came into my mind, and I just I would never say this to someone who was dealing with a tragedy or a traumatic event, because that wouldn't feel loving and supportive, but I can know it in my mind. I can hold it in my mind. So I was just holding that all things are gently planned by one whose only purpose is our good, and that this too is perfect. It's unfolding perfectly. Your son's path is perfect. All roads lead to God. Just kind of all of these, A Course in Miracles and other spiritual affirmations and truths that I know. I was just kind of affirming them silently. And A Course in Miracles says that they need you the instant they're sent to you. And it's talking about in your mind. So it's as soon as I become aware of someone, just kind of like Melissa's blanket of pink light, just wrapping them in love and light, and kind of sending those affirmative thoughts of truth, calling in angels to support, that kind of thing. But it all happens so like rapidly.
Yeah, probably. So the one thing I have to just share this because it was so profound for me when you were all, doing your WhatsApp messages back to me. I think every single one of you started it out with, I love you, Penny. It was so beautiful and touching. Just those simple 4 words, because you said, I love you, Penny. But it was so, that's all you needed to say, actually. That was it. That's all I needed. And I think it's all my son needs too.
Yes.
Because the situation he's going through comes with a lot of shame. And we can, if we live in shame and we're, beating ourselves up, it's just going to be a horrible life. And so the more love that we can shower on him, the better. Yeah. That loving space.
Yeah.
You're muted, Melissa.
Thank you. My cat was meowing like crazy. I'm like, oh my God. Of course, right now. The whole day she's quiet, and then she starts wailing. Okay, so I was going to say the other thing I think about, I don't necessarily say it, but I do think it. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. There will be a time when you look back and it will have been, it's over, or it's better. So I do feel that as well when I'm holding space, especially for crisis,
Beautiful.
It is beautiful. And it really gives us I think holding space is a great example of what benefits other people, benefits us too, because as describing holding space, we're all talking about coming back to our center, coming back to our purpose, letting go of ego thoughts, and really channeling unconditional love. And that elevates us and also the people that we're holding space for. So it is a win-win for everybody.
It is a blessing to be able to do this for each other and everybody. What I wish for our listeners is that everyone would have a small group of friends that they feel can do this for them, because it's like how we refuel so that we can then go out into the world and do this for others. It's a self-care practice.
It is.
It really is.
It is.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a group of friends that do this for you, you can be the person that starts it. You don't even have to tell them what you're doing. You can just do it. And it's just amazing how things start shifting.
Well, and Jennifer Hadley, it's September when we're recording this, September of 2023, but Jennifer starts her new Masterful Living program in January of each year. And you can always go to jenniferhadley.com and just check out her programs. That's where all of us came together through her program. And it's beautiful, the support and the love and the holding space that occurs there. And so I just wanted to do a shout out for that.
Yeah. And there's an early bird sign up if you if you sign up at the end of the.
And if it's not on our website, just reach out to admin@jenniferhadley.com and they'll be able to help you.
We are not paid for this endorsement.
No. We are not paid at all. We are paid in having serenity and peace.
Oneness.
Yeah, exactly.
It's community. It is easier when those around you are practicing the same things.
Yeah, that's why it was kind of silly that I'm judging myself, but it was interesting how my ego jumped in and said, no, Penny, don't share this with anybody about what's happening in your life, because they're going to think that you're not good enough. Like, oh, you have shit going on in your life that is major. And so they'll think that, oh, how can you be a spiritual student? whatever my silly ego went into. But that's really what happened. And so I'm glad that I was able to interrupt that and ask for help, because it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. It really isn't.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So you guys were about at the end of our time. Any final thoughts?
I keep thinking of that statement. Don't change the world, change your mind about the world. So don't change people, change your mind about people. That's holding.
And I have another quote too. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I think that's by Wayne Dyer. That's one of my favorite things to think about too. Yeah. And I have a Post-it. But it's not on Post-it paper. I have no Post-it paper by me.
That's okay, Penny.
But I ripped a page out of a catalog and I wrote it on a catalog. Oh, here, I got to change my, oh God, how am I going to do
read
this?
it.
Read it. Yeah.
Loving hearts hold space for others. It's a blessing. That's my, there it is.
There it is.
So
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And we missed Priscilla today. She couldn't join us today. And I'm sorry that listeners didn't get an opportunity to hear about her holding space, because
she does it so freaking well.
She is amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you to our listeners. Please reach out if you have any ideas for a future topic, or if you have any questions about this topic. I do want to give a shout out to Kathy Garland, who featured us in an article that she wrote. And we're so grateful. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. And thank you for sharing us with your followers. So
thanks, Kathy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathy.
Kathy's Instagram is Navigating the Change, is all one word. It's her Instagram handle. And the article is titled, where did it go? Forgive me. 3 podcasts for navigating the changes of midlife. So her platform is all about aging gracefully, going through menopause, and all of that kind of stuff. So anyway, we made it onto one of her articles. Yay! Anybody have any other announcements before we sign off? Okay.
Thanks, Morgan.
Right. Love you all. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Have a great week, everyone.